Hello my delightfully frightful friends, welcome back to Witchinary. If you have yet to subscribe to this channel, then please do so because we are getting crafty and spooky all month long. Today I wanted to bring to you the Simon Says Stamp Frightful Fun Halloween card kit. This card kit is huge. I got it like 2 hours after it launched because, you know, I'm obsessed with Halloween, so what else am I gonna do? Yeah, but this kit is really huge. You can make around like 4 different projects that I can think of off the top of my head. Unfortunately, it is sold out, and because it's sold out, I decided to break up my use of this card kit into 2 different parts, and one part just using the Simon Says Stamp Frightful Fun clear stamp set because that's still available online, and the other using the Spooky Boo Pebbles incorporated like images that came in this kit. So yeah, stick around for part 2 to actually see me use the Spooky Boo collection, but until then, let's get started with the Frightful Fun clear stamp set. I go ahead and I pre-cut all of my card bases from the cardstock that came with this kit, and they were in the colors Black, Orange Peel, Green Apple, Royal Purple, and Ivory from Simon Says Stamp. Then I took out my mini Misti and the Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink to start inking up some of those images from the Frightful Fun clear stamp set. Now guys, I'm not gonna say this often because none of this is sponsored, but I do believe this stamp set from Simon Says Stamp is worth the money. I know, gasp, but hear me out. So the stamp set is around $24.99, and the stamp set brings well over 24 images in the actual pack. All of the images are super versatile. You can do a ton of things with it, everything ranging from very simple 3x3 cards to like more intricate background dimensional designs and almost anything else in between. So I do really think that if you want a very like a go-to Halloween stamp set that's worth your money, I do vouch for this stamp set. I do think that it's worth it. From my stash, I pulled out some of my Copic markers as well as some of my Tombow brush pens, and I'm just going to color all of these images, and then I'm going to fussy cut all of them until my thumbs are sore. For the trees, because these don't have coordinating dies, I had to use my X-Acto knife to get in between those branches, but I thought it was really worth it because the end result allows me to actually see any colors or anything else that I have in the background, so I thought it was really neat. Now, for my actual cards, I really wanted to play around with making little scenes occur. I did like that tree branch or tree entire stamp. However, I didn't want it for all of my cards. I was just mildly obsessed with it, so I really wanted to color it. I am, however, obsessed with these ghosts because they are adorable and they are making me live even though they're deceased, so that's kind of weird, but whatever. Yeah, so I just kind of played around with kind of how I wanted my scenes, and once I was satisfied with how I wanted everything, I kind of wanted to see if I would use the Spooky Boo 6x6 paper set, but I ended up deciding against it. Again, I really want to use it along with the Spooky Boo ephemera sheet and not so much with the stamp set, although I did want to show you that it's very possible. Again, this kit was very versatile, and if you get the Spooky Boo paper along with the Frightful Fun clear stamp set, it's not going to really lead you in a wrong way, so it's up to you guys. It's your money. I really wanted to focus most of my energy on my backgrounds. Now, I use distress inks a lot ever since I became introduced to them. I think we all really do, but I've never had a session where I sat at my craft desk and just experimented with distress inks and color combinations for the sake of doing it and just kind of having fun and letting loose. And I wanted to do it this time, and I wanted to record it. And I'm really happy I did because I felt like all 4 of these backgrounds ended up coming out really nicely, and I'm really happy I was able to share it with you. So for my first panel, I'm going to start with my Mustard Seed Distress ink, and I'm going to start ink blending at the bottom and working my way up. For my second color, I'm going to use the Distress Oxide ink in Fossilized Amber, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull out my Spice Marmalade Distress ink, and then I'm going to top this off with some Fired Brick and then some Seedless Preserves. The reason why I wanted to use those 3 inks at the very end was because I have a subscriber who brought to my attention that there weren't enough red backgrounds on YouTube, and she was absolutely right. It's not very often I see red used in a background because it's such a in-your-face sort of color, and I think that we should probably bring some of that back. So while I was playing, I was really much thinking about her into the comment that she left me, and I kind of wanted to incorporate it into this actual panel. And long and behold, I finally got my evening dusk background that I've been dying to have, and I wasn't even trying to get it. It just kind of happened. So I was super excited to get this entire panel, and I'm really happy I got to record it. For my next panel of playing around, I decided that I wanted to take out my my Seedless Preserves, and I was gonna start coloring like some of the background and at least some of the bottom, and then I just start working my way up with other colors. I used Picked Raspberry and Spiced Marmalade. This was actually a panel that I had made before for the Love from Lizzie card kit that I had shown here on my channel. However, the Spiced Marmalade really clashed against the color palette of the kit, so I wasn't able to use that background, but I wanted to use it at some point, so I recreated it. For my next panel, I started with my shaded Lilac Distress ink and started my way up with the chipped Sapphire, and then I used some black soot. I don't know if I was watching a Christmas movie or something, but I was starting to channel a little bit of Christmas, and I figured I can maybe, just maybe, make this Halloween, so I didn't get rid of it the way that I normally did. Again, I was just playing with my distress inks for the sake of playing. This was so much fun, guys. I can't even tell you. I'm sure you guys know the feeling though. For my last background, I started with shaded Lilac, and then I randomly just start like going in with my Seedless Preserves, and then I kind of got confused in the middle of it. Like I thought maybe this was like the top and maybe like the other part was the bottom, so then I start kind of getting confused and going with it. But because I was playing, I didn't really want to give up on this panel. I just kept going with it and figured like maybe this one would be just a little bit different with my colors. I'm going in right now with some of the chipped Sapphire just because, again, this kind of looked a little bit Christmassy, and maybe this is something I'll bring back for maybe a Christmas series for a Christmas card. But for right now, I'm just happy I kept playing with it. I started going over the Seedless Preserves with some Picked Raspberry, and then a wee bit with some of the Spiced Marmalade to kind of give this card a feel of all the other three. And I'm really happy with how these started looking because they were fabulous. So yeah, I start flicking some water on my panels because I really like this droplet effect, and I figured if I was making Halloween cards, I can make the splatter kind of look like orbs, especially on some of those panels that look a little bit more wintry than Halloween. And then I take my Finetec watercolor paints, and I start kind of just using my iridescent whitest shade that's in my entire, like, I guess kit or whatever, and I just sprinkle it on top of these panels. And I really love this watercolor ink because it is extremely opaque and it comes off a lot better than the actual ink that is in the Prima Marketing metallic ink pan, I guess. And I just zap this again with my heat tool just to dry everything, and then I kind of just have these awesome backgrounds. Then I started realizing it kind of looks like it's snowing, and to be fair, this was actually the idea, or the cards that gave me the idea behind my Nightmare Before Christmas background, but they're a little bit out of order just based on what I wanted to release and when. But yeah, I still figured that I can make this work for Halloween. Even though it kind of looks like it's snowing in my backgrounds. But, you guys can be the judge of that. Does it look Halloweenish or does it look more Christmassy? I think it can look Halloweenish if you think of it as like orbs and magic, but I could be wrong. Anyway, once I was done doing all of that, it was time to start arranging my backgrounds the way that I had them before in my, or on my desk, and start playing around with them now that I can see the backgrounds. So after I was done with everything and I was happy with how it looked, I pulled out my Tombow glue, just because the actual paper that I had done all of my coloring on was some Strathmore watercolor paper. I thought I was going to be watercoloring ahead of time, and I completely forgot that it was Strathmore watercolor paper after a while, so I needed something that was a little bit heavier in terms of adhesive to get everything down. I raised up certain parts with some foam squares, and I just let everything else sink in the background with the actual cards for a bit. But I was really happy with how this ended up looking. I go ahead and I pull out a piece of ultra matte black cardstock and a few of the actual sentiments, and I go ahead and I use my Stampendous Silver Embossing Powder. I was actually looking for the Hero Arts Silver Embossing Powder, but I couldn't find it in my stash, so this is what I went with. But if you guys have the Hero Arts Silver Embossing Powder, then you can totally use that for this as well, because it works. Any metallic ink would have honestly worked. I just thought that this would actually tie in the Finetec watercolors a little bit better, but again, any one of those would work. After I was done heat embossing all of that, I wanted to decorate the insides of these cards, and again, these images brought so many little things that there was just no way to pass this up. Like, it brought these little stars, a bunch of little candies. You can make like a candy wreath, guys. Like, you can make so much. Anyway, once I was done with everything, I just kind of needed to show it off. So guys, here are my 4 cards that I made using the Simon Says Stamp Frightful Fun Clear Stamp Set. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this video, and I hope to see you guys again for part 2. Take care.